it's been a couple weeks and the transmission's still broken, but the good news is at the shop right now getting rebuilt, so hopefully I'll be driving this again within a week. I figured I'd make a video about my fuel system in this thing because I did say that I was going to make a video about installing the fuel system. I didn't do that. Kind of got in a time crunch and just couldn't really film it and just had to hurry up and get it done, and that was a long time ago. But I figured now I'd just make a video explaining what my fuel system is, because I'm not running the same dual tanks that this truck came factory with anymore. So basically where this fuel system starts is at summitracing.com, and that's also where it ends. Everything I got was from Summit. I kind of went through a few different things and debated on how much money I wanted to spend. It's a 255 Summit fuel pump, and the tank is just a baffled tank. It's a 20-gallon tank that Summit had, and all the lines came from Summit with quick disconnect fittings. I think I may have had to buy those separately, I'm not sure. Once I pulled all the old junk out of my truck and took out the other two tanks and all the old lines, this was ready for me just to drop it into the bed, drill some holes for the tie down straps and bolt those down, and then run the lines. It was very simple. So the basic reasoning for me switching to a fuel cell instead of a replacement fuel tank like they have for a lot of these trucks going to EFI setups is that the cell is a lot more easy access, and it's just the function of being able to change parts on it or work on anything in case if anything happens is 10 times easier when it's just right here in the bed. So I didn't really do any of this for looks, just trying to make it easy and accessible. Although my wiring is curly, that was for looks. Now I know that some of you are going to wonder why I have my fuel cell pushed up against my cab in my bed and not over the rear axle in the back of the bed where it could transfer weight better and all that. The answer for that is pretty simple. This thing isn't a 1,000 horsepower race car. One day when it is, I'll just lengthen the lines from the fuel filter to the cell and move the cell back towards the back of the bed. But right now, when this truck is working, I'm daily driving it. So I want to be able to use the bed whenever I can and not be going around fuel lines or going around wires and things like that. So I just moved it up forward out of the way, so that way in case if I need to use the bed I can. So it's a better location for me to have it right now. But one day I'll have a 1,000 horsepower truck and I'll move that fuel cell over the rear axle and I'll be making a lot of power and going really fast. But until then, it's just a little hot rod. It's nothing crazy, so I keep it up front. Now in total, this whole fuel system cost me $800 roughly, and that is buying everything that I listed: the cell, the pump, the new filter for it, which is a stock style filter. The filter is, you can go buy these filters at AutoZone or O'Reilly's. They're a Corvette style filter, and all the lines. It was around $800 for all this. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was my fuel filter. I got everything sent to me in the mail, and it was all in boxes, and I kept it all together for about a month to a month and a half before I put it all in the truck, because I was waiting to put my wiring harness in as well. And I put it all in. It's running and driving all right, and then it starts acting like it's running out of gas out of nowhere. And what was happening was, I don't know if the filter was getting clogged or what, but it wasn't sending fuel to the motor, and it was back pressuring my pump. Now, I don't think the filter was getting clogged because it was a brand new pump, a brand new tank, like everything was all brand new. So it really couldn't have been that, but it wasn't sending it to the motor, so it back pressures the pump, and then the pump shoots fuel out of the top of this pressure release valve, and it's spraying fuel It just happened to line up with my overflow tube, and it's spraying it straight into the overflow tube and out of the tank and onto the ground while I'm driving. And even while it was idling at times, it would just be sitting there idling, and then you could hear it's not really idling right. I thought it was the pump for a while, and we went back and forth, and I was like, okay, it's the filter. And I got on the phone with Summit, and they were really nice about this, but I think they sent me 2 different filters, and the filters kept doing the same thing. They were pushing fuel back to the pump, and it was spraying through the pressure release valve. Eventually, I went and bought a filter up at O'Reilly's, and it solved the issue. I also got a free pump out of the deal, because at some point, I think the last thing was to just replace the pump, and that's what Summit sent me, because they had sent me enough filters that I think they just got a bad batch of filters, but they sent me enough filters that they were just like, okay, we're gonna send you a pump as well. And so now I have a spare pump. So they were really cool about working with me on that. It was a really frustrating deal to figure it out, but it's all good now. It's working now, so I haven't had any trouble since I went up to the corner and just bought my own fuel filter. So we'll see how long that one lasts. So that's basically it. There's nothing too crazy about my fuel system. It's just the 20-gallon tank, the Summit 255 pump, the lines that run from the cell to the filter and then up to the motor. It's a very simple, easy setup. I do need to get a cover for the bed, because I need to get it out of the weather. It's starting to get kind of ugly looking, and not that my truck's really nice looking, but you spend $800 on a fuel system, you'd like to keep it as nice as you can for a while. That's why I got all that junk in the bed right now, just to cover it all up. My cat just jumped on the roof. She's coming to visit. It's just like every video I do, she comes out here. So the next thing for me is I'll hopefully be getting my transmission back real soon, and I'll be driving this about next week. I'll have a video up of me putting the transmission back in and driving it afterwards, testing it out, and we'll see how that goes. So until I get that transmission video up, you guys should go check out some of my other videos and get the views up a little bit, because they're kind of slacking right now. And you should also subscribe, because you won't know that I have that transmission video out unless if you subscribe. And you won't know if I post any other videos because you're not subscribed. So subscribe.